Hello everybody, welcome back to the studio. My name is Justin. This is a impromptu video that I had not planned to film until about 5 minutes ago. It is 9:30 Thursday morning, the day before this video was going live. So I don't normally film on Thursdays because that does not give me enough time to film and edit a video in time for Friday posting at 4 p.m. But I was working on this simple little project this morning, got it done, and thought this could be a pretty good, almost real-time live video of how I work through something I've never done before. So let me flip you around and I'll show you what I'm working on. So I got these leather pliers for a project that I got coming up. And it came with these, you've probably seen these nasty little plastic handle guard things. So I figured, let's try my hand at wrapping a handle in some leather, doing that classic kind of baseball stitch. So that's how the first one turned out. And I thought that was a lot easier than I'd expected. So I turned the camera on, and here we are. So I'm going to show you how I did this from this. So starting at the very beginning, I had my handles come in like this. It had a little cap on the end, which I cut off afterwards, but either way, cut off the plastic a little bit. I got a measurement, so I know my piece is going to be, let's say, 96 millimeters long. I measured the top width at 42 millimeters, and then it tapers down to, I measured about 32 millimeters, give or take. A 10 mil taper seems appropriate. So found a piece of leather that happened to work. Immediately went to the scrap bin to find this, and it worked perfectly. So we're going to now measure out this piece. Now this width down here is only 40 mil, so I got to be kind of precise to get this laid out properly. So what we'll do is measure up from this part. Make sure my end is square. This end is square, so I'm going to measure up 42 millimeters. There, and then my measurement here, what was it, 96? 96 mil is my length. Okay, so now we got that at 42 millimeters. We need this one at 32. So we'll measure up 5 millimeters and cut our taper. And then we know from this point it's 42 mil, and now from this point will be 32. So make our mark there, and then connect those 2 points. Just made it. This knife is kind of dull. Time to replace that. So we've got a piece that now tapers from 42 to 32. Now I'll go ahead and very quickly just take care of these edges. Take the bevel off of these with a brand new edge bevelers from Junlin Leather. we've got the number 0 and a number 2. I'm going to use this one for my belts and larger projects, and then this one will be primarily for my small leather goods like the wallets or things like this. These are absolutely beautiful tools, all handmade by him, hand sharpened, and they come out of the box absolutely beautifully sharpened. If you are in the market for some new edge bevelers, I would highly recommend these from Junlin. I've linked them in the description below if you are interested. He's got a lot of other great tools. Young guy, go check him out. Does absolutely incredible work. As you can see, beautiful. That's it for the edge. Let's now jump over and get this punched out. Okay, so because I'm doing a baseball stitch, what we don't want is to put unnecessary pressure on this thinner interior edge. So I'm going to snug up my stitch line a little bit closer to that edge. So I've set my dividers to 2.5 mil. What you could do here to ensure that your stitches line up perfectly, you could take your length and divide it by your stitch spacing. So I've got 96 millimeters, divide that by 3.38, comes out to a number that is almost a whole number, which means the result, if you measure it properly, should be that tooth hanging right over the edge. So before we go ahead and stitch, that's what it looks like. Okay, so we need to measure out our thread. I'm going to do 6 times the length because I'm not sure in this instance how much you need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6. That'll give me enough to make sure I don't run out. Normally if I'm stitching 2 layers of leather, I would do like 4x because this stuff's so thin. But because I'm going across it, I'm not sure how much I'm going to need. But 6 times my length should be plenty. The leather I'm using for this is only, I don't even know, a millimeter maybe? Probably, this is probably 0.8 mil. So it's pretty thin stuff. So if you're using stuff that's thicker, your dimensions may change, but I would not necessarily use my exact dimensions for this. Go ahead and measure the clamp that you have, or pliers. Just use the same logic that I'm using and it'll get you there. Okay, so we got this into our clamp. I'm going to pre-thread the top hole so the thread is evened out in the middle or on the inside like this. Then I can wrap that thread around. And I've got this Velcro kind of cord organizer I'm actually going to use to hold this in place. Could just use an elastic, but this is what I happen to have lying around. Okay, so this is now wrapped out of the way. I'll try to even up my threads, and then I'm going to come back around so my thread goes all the way through and then wraps around the top. So with that one wrapped around, I'm then going to take my other thread, wrap it around this side, make sure my threads are stacked so they don't cross over, and then slowly start bringing this all together. Takes a bit of wiggling around once this gets tightened up. But just be patient. If you keep your threads even enough, mine are even enough, just makes it a bit easier. And then tighten that down. Don't pull too much. You can see I've got a bit of a gap here of about 1.5 mils or so. So I'm just going to leave that as it is versus trying to snug that right up. If you wanted this to be bang on, you would test this first to make sure your measurements are accurate. Okay, so with one needle coming out from the bottom, I'm going to go up underneath. Come out. Same thing on the other side. Now, I'm going to come over, down on that side, crossing over on that side. Okay, so now you can see, I'm going to move the camera to give you a better angle. So you can see this from my perspective, my left to right is going over top of the thread that's going right to left. I'm going to try to maintain that relationship all the way down. Same logic, you can see a cross underneath. I'm going to use that same understanding. So, take my right needle, coming up through the left, not tightening that down, just putting it through, leaving it loose. Same thing, left needle comes up, gotta find the hole. So maybe you can see it there. Left needle is crossing over top. So now I'm going to take this one, take my right needle down through the face on the left. Same thing, left needle down through the face. Then I take my thread and snug all that up as much as I can. Probably could have tightened this up a little bit more, but that's okay. So now we start over. So this needle, this thread is underneath this thread. Coming up through the bottom. And with this one, come up through the bottom. Snug that down, and then this one now, with this needle still in hand, come down through the top. Same with this one, down through the top. And now we tighten that one up. And now we rinse and repeat all the way down till we get to the very end. So I'll let the camera roll so you can watch this a few more times if you're trying to do this. And then I'll speed it up because watching the whole process becomes a little repetitive. Before I do that, I'm going to move this down. Okay, once we get to the end, we're going to loop around just like we did at the top. Again, making sure our threads are stacked cleanly. Pull that nice and tight. And then I think all I'm going to do here is just double knot it. Don't think we need to do anything more than that. Again, this is a bit of an experiment, so we'll see how this holds up over time. I'm sure there's a proper way to end this knot or end this stitch, but we're going to do this. And then I'm just going to leave a little bit of length on this end and then just poke it back up underneath. See, that looks pretty good. This one ended up a bit, this is the first one I did, the bottom ended up a bit tighter than on this one, but that's okay. It's a shop tool, so if this comes all loose and it comes out, well, that's fine. I'll just make another one. It's also a bit of an experiment. This is the first time you watched, the second time I've ever done this stitch. So, learning process. You know, I didn't get them exactly lined up evenly. That's a little annoying. But again, no one's gonna see this, and can always just redo that. Now that I know the process, yeah, you can see oops, that's okay. Oh, that's annoying, but hey, it is what it is, right? This is the learning process. There's lots of things in leatherwork that I haven't done before. I'm sure the case is the same with you. It's all about just trying it, figuring it out. If it doesn't work, cut it off and redo it again. This is a bit of scrap leather in my bin that was otherwise probably going to get thrown out one day. So this is a good use. So now we'll line the jaws. One thing I started doing to the face of the pliers was just sand down the finish that's on here. So the surface has a little bit of tooth for the glue to grab. So yeah, there, just sanding that down. So I'm going to do that a little bit more to kind of like that, so you can see all of the metal on the whole face. Okay, once that's done, I'm just going to use this super glue because I'm not sure what's going to work well long term to stick this. Super glue could be a bad idea, may not work. We'll see. So I think we're just going to put it on each face and then stick the leather down and see what happens. It's probably actually a really good glue for this, adhesive, but this is what I got here. So it's gonna work well enough for now. We'll see how long it holds up. And if it needs to be replaced, we'll take it off and redo it. So I'm just sticking that on. I'm leaving about 1 millimeter or so above the plier head so I can trim that later. And then we just squeeze those together and hold it for a little bit and trim those up. Actually, maybe we can do that now. So I've just got my pliers held together. Just trim it flush. I'll get the bottom bit after, once I can open these up again. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes. I ended up trimming that flush with the top. Just took a nice sharp blade and did one of those. And it seems to be holding up pretty well. So if you don't know what these are used for, if you don't want to hammer your threads down, you can use these pliers and press your threads in place. If you're working with maybe a more delicate leather or a really awkward place to get into, like the gusset of a bag that's really tight, you can't really hammer it, you can just come in and press those flat. So all that really matters on pliers like this is like the first 6 millimeters or so. The rest of this really isn't necessary because it's not doing anything. So there's a very quick tutorial on how to wrap leather handle. You can go to the link in the description below if you want to get a set of these pliers for yourself. I've also included the plans, use that term loosely, for this specific one and the measurements that I used. So I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I was using these for a project coming up. That starts next week, so I may not have a video up next week because I'm going to be working on that. But after I'm done that, I plan on remaking it and filming the entire process. That will be probably a multi-part video series that's going to go right in depth on how to make this, call it, pretty classic handbag design. Okay, everybody, thank you for watching. If you want to get your hands on a set of these pliers, there's a link in the description below. I'll also include a set of these plans for free if you want to download them. Also, head over to my website, norfolkhma.com/resources. If you saw my last video breaking down my favorite suppliers, I've recently updated that list. There's a ton of suppliers, so if you don't know where to buy leather, go to that page, bookmark it, save it. I'm regularly updating it as people comment on the video with suppliers that I haven't heard of. So that is going to be your go-to resource. Shortly, I'm going to be breaking out into leather suppliers / like tool suppliers, and then kind of accessory ones. So the ones that do the stamps, the one that do dies. I'm going to break it out a little further, so if you're looking for something specific, you're going to be able to go to that site, that page, and look for what you need. And finally, I'm going to point out the suppliers who have a discount code with me right now, Norfolk10 at checkout. They are linked below. They've been generous enough to offer you that discount. I do not get anything for that. There's no affiliates there. That is a discount just for you guys for subscribing here or watching this video and using that code. The affiliates that I do have is for X-Tool. If you're looking for a laser, buy an X-Tool. I'm rocking the S1 right now, and it's been a game changer. Check the description, linked up here somewhere down there. There's a video of the review of that and why I think it's the best laser for leather workers. And Lonsdale Leather, they are an affiliate with me right now. Save 10% Norfolk10 at checkout with them. If you use that code, I do get a small commission. That helps support the channel. Finally, memberships. If you want to join and support me directly, click the join button below. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching.